Hi there, and welcome once again to Mama Bunny's Wartime Kitchen. Today we're going to make one of my family's favorites, borscht. We have here some experiments from Ella Herrera's garden. We were attempting to see if we could grow them in reconstituted compost. We need to add fertilizer there, but this is our own harvest. You can start with whatever you like for basic vegetables from your community garden or your War and Victory garden that you've been growing. Don't forget that, it's a vegetable soup, basically. Beets are the most important ingredient, but you can add just about anything. We're going to stick with root vegetables because they preserve well and usually will survive even without refrigeration. So if your power's out, you can still usually make borscht. Also, we have here some pickled beet salad and pickled beets that we will also be including in the recipe. Let's start by washing our vegetables. Learned a lot from the ISS when we were building all the Herrera's garden, but we're still figuring some things out. Next experiment, astronaut toilet paper. Alright, and now of course we chop the vegetables up. I personally like to do things in chunks when I'm making borscht. I know a lot of people think you basically have to put everything through a food processor. It's just vegetable soup with beets as a primary ingredient, guys, and a particular combination of spices. It's not required to make it into mush. Beets, of course, very important. Ain't borscht without beets. It's worth noting that you can use these roots that you're cutting off too. If you're really tight for supplies and you need to make things stretch, these are perfectly edible. We just don't prefer to eat them because they tend to have a rough texture and we don't like that. But hey, beggars can't be choosers, right? And there's the last of the beets I have on hand. Now we're going to cut the onion. Oh, no, I'm going to have to get it. Okay, we had a question about why I often don't mention amounts when I am doing these segments. The answer is because ideally I'm trying to design recipes for what you have on hand. This is the wartime kitchen after all. So if I do mention amounts, it will only because it's necessary for whatever chemical reaction you're trying to accomplish in the kitchen gets done. And make no mistake, baking is chemistry. All right, now put in the onions. Well, onion, I should say. That's what I had. Now we move on to carrots. I was very disappointed in these carrots, I'm not gonna lie. Well, now we know what we need to know for next year, right? Back to the drawing board. We're almost done with the carrots. Then she'd like a carrot, wouldn't she, baby? Yeah, I bet she would. There you go, baby girl. Yeah. So, Mama Bunny's kitchen tip number 1. When you're making soup, always get the biggest ass pot you can, because there's always more than you think there's gonna be. Tip number 2, save this stuff. Right? I mean, you gotta throw out, there's a bad spot on one of the potatoes, that's gotta go, but this stuff, if you're not gonna eat it, this makes wonderful vegetable broth. This is how I made the broth that we are going to be adding today to our borscht. This is made from leftover Swiss chard stalks, the hard parts of the broccoli that isn't the florets, some leftover peppers, green onions, and carrots in my fridge. I might as well throw that in now while I'm talking about it, eh? also have some regular store-bought potatoes here and carrots that I will probably add in a minute. But first, we're going to add the pickled beets so that we can see how much water we have in there and what we need to add in terms of vegetables. And caffeinate. And now the pickled beets. Oh, come on. Okay. Cheater out of it. Okay, that's amusing. And a bunny, legs are stronger than your hands. Now that looks freaking tasty. Freaking good. Yeah, I think it could use more potatoes. Now, if you don't have pickled beets on hand, that's often my secret ingredient. People who like my borscht say that they really appreciate it because of the pickled beets. But you can also use various ingredients that you have in your fridge. For instance, vinegar will often, you can substitute that or old pickle juice to represent that kind of acidic flavor and break down the root vegetables more so that it's more enjoyable. You're going to want to add sugar if you do that though, because it is definitely not as sweet as the pickled beets. Now usually what I do at this point is I take a smell of what I've got going on so far, and then I add spices based on what I think will go well. Now the secrets about pickled beets is they usually use cloves, cinnamon, and paprika as some of their base spices, and occasionally cardamom. So these are places where you can start. If you have those in your fridge, great. Or in your cupboard, rather. Cupboard. Fridge. Yeah. If you have those in your pantry, great. But, you know, if you don't, the pickled beets will often provide a bit of flavor already, and so will the vegetable broth if you've made it, especially with onions. Now, as usual, I did a typical ADHD, and I forgot to get garlic together for this. So, in the spirit of Mama Bunny's Wartime Kitchen, we're using garlic powder. It will work. I like lots and lots. Now where's my cinnamon and my cardamom? Okay, so I think I'll start with that. Now we turn the pot on to boil the water. You want to get an actual good solid boil to start with, I find, with most soup. And borscht is, again, just a soup, because it helps to break down the ingredients and make the flavors all blend together. And, oops, I almost forgot a very important thing. It ain't soup, said my mother, without a bay leaf. And now that we've got it up to a good solid boil, we leave it boil for about 5 minutes, maybe 10, depends on, you know, whether or not you think it's broken down the vegetables enough. And then we turn it down to about 3, right? If you're cooking without electricity, don't forget that, you know, you'd have to stoke the fire down. You're going to want this with more embers than open flame, right? So, you know, keep that in mind if you're cooking on the barbecue or your wood stove. Okay, so we've now been cooking our borscht for about, 2-ish hours on low medium heat, and that means it should be ready. Let's have a little taste. Oh, that looks so good. All right. Let's see here. Very hot. Borscht gets really hot. I'm not sure why. Be careful. Ah, perfect. Now, if you don't like the tanginess, you can always add a little bit of extra sugar, right? And if you have it, it's really nice to serve with sour cream stirred in. Of course, this being a wartime kitchen, you may not have that. So bread, biscuits, provided those are around, might go well with it. You can also substitute cream or yogurt if need be, but you can also just eat it by itself. And that's it for Mama Bunny's Wartime Kitchen for today. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next week.